grounding, and it's coming up to winter, and it's cold, and the ground is cold. It was cold this morning anyway. It's less cold now, but I want to talk about grounding when the ground is really cold because it's winter, autumn, and also it was wet this morning, so it was wet and freezing cold, and as soon as you put your feet on the ground, it's like, ush, it's grounding, it's beautiful, you're getting negative ions, but the problem is that it's freezing cold, right? So how do you do it? Let me give you one tip for how to overcome this idea of like, oh, it's too cold, it's freezing, my feet are going to numb, and all the worries you have of grounding. Well, first of all, understand the mindset of the cold, that cold therapy is very powerful anyway. So being outside in the cold, even with just your head exposed and then your feet exposed, and getting those feet cold is actually really good medicine for the body anyway, outside the fact of grounding too at the same time. So you're getting 2 for 1. It's a mindset where you just got to ride through it in a way, and you're getting cold therapy on your feet, which is increasing your dopamine levels, your alertness, your freedom from pain, your dopamine, your happiness. That increases your testosterone if you're a guy, from just getting the cold, having your feet cold on the ground, outside of the negative ions of the grounding. Also, it's structuring your waters even more. The negative ion structuring your waters, but so does the feet. So does the cold on your feet and the cold on your face. So that's awesome too. So it's a mindset thing too. But there is an actual tip that I've got that I found out this morning, which makes complete sense. You might well be aware of, which is if it's really, really cold and you can't stand it, put your feet on the ground and don't move them. Don't move them. Keep them still, because as soon as you start moving them, then you're going to what happens if you keep your feet still is your body is a warmth generating machine. It's always emitting, it's always got heat in it. As long as you're alive, you've got heat. When you die, the heat leaves and it's all cold, the body becomes cold. Well, you're a heat generating and emitting device, and what happens by standing still, right? So standing still for just a couple of minutes, the longer you stand still, the more warmer your feet and the ground beneath you is going to be. That you'll literally transfer the heat that you think is not inside you, that actually is, from your feet into the ground, specifically over the points that you're standing, which were cold initially, but then they warm up. It's almost like when you're sleeping at night time and it's freezing cold, say outside, you got the window open and you're doing it for health, whatever, and it's just cold, 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 and you know that to warm yourself up you got to keep yourself still, because your body generates even more heat the longer you stay still, right? That's one factor, just thought of now, which is very true. The longer you stay still, the longer you keep your feet still on the ground while you're grounding, the more heat's being generated in that region, the whole entire body, and then that heat gets emitted out into the ground and eventually it warms it up. So after a couple of minutes, you'll find, as long as you don't move, that's the key, you don't fucking move, as long as you don't fucking move from the spot, you'll find that one area that was fucking freezing cold to ground on becomes actually warmer and much better to handle, and it literally warms up the ground beneath your feet. Now as soon as you move, like even an inch to the, not an inch, as soon as you move from that spot, you know, to the left, to the right, or whatever, up, down, forward, right, centre, then it goes. You have to start again with the warming up of the ground. But as long as you stay still, you can do it. You'll be fine. And then focus too on the mindset thing. It's cold therapy and grounding, which is 2 medicines. In fact, for the entire winter time, you shouldn't be like, oh no, no sun, no vitamin D, UVB. That's true. Then you should think of like cold therapy. The magic of cold therapy is, like I said, structuring your waters, super fucking important. Creating infrared light, structuring the waters, increasing your dopamine, increasing your testosterone, increasing your serotonin probably. There's loads of benefits of cold. It makes you feel fucking food, it makes you feel awake, and makes you feel alive. It's alright, peace, and ground away in the winter.